Hi, Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is Nurulajwa binti Shukri. My student ID is 2023444052 and our group project title is Exploring the Students' Financial Behavior. So now, let's see our group members of this project. So let's start with the introduction. In contemporary society, understanding the financial behaviors of college students has become increasingly imperative. As a pivotal phase of transition from adolescence to adulthood, the university years mark a period of significant financial decision-making and responsibility. According to Nurjan Suslawati 2017, students tend to spend much money than they can afford as they have no considerate to apply what they learn in their class, for instance, planning and investment of their future. Drawing upon a diverse array of demographic variables including age, major, year in school, and gender, this study aims to discern one's patterns and trends in financial behavior. Furthermore, specific emphasis will be placed on dissecting expenditure categories such as food expenses and social expenses, shedding light on the intricacies of spending habits within this domain. So now let's focus on the objective. The first objective is to analyze descriptive statistics of the collected data, including measures of central tendency such as mean, median, and mode, and dispersion such as standard deviation and range for all the variables. The second objective is to measure the central tendency and dispersion specifically for social expenses and also the food expenses. The last objective is to explore the shape of the distribution of the collected data, identifying any patterns or tendencies, especially focusing on social expenses and food expenses. The problem statement is this study aims to explore how age, gender, major, and academic year influence student spending habits on entertainment and food, providing insights to foster responsible financial behavior among the students.
Of our study. Methodology is a method or technique used to define, collect, process, and evaluate the information on the subject. To continue about that, the population of the study includes all students from University of Cambridge. Due to the resource constraints, we were unable to submit the entire population. Therefore, we used a sample of 278 students selected from the University of Cambridge. We used systematic sampling to select the sample needed. We divided the population size by the desired sample size to find the sampling interval which we call K. From the calculation, every fourth person on the list was included in the sample, starting from the person 1 on the list. Collected data on several variables including gender, major, year in school, age, food expense, and socializing expense. Gender is a qualitative variable with a nominal scale. Major and year in school are qualitative variables with an ordinal scale. Age is a quantitative variable with a ratio scale. Food expense and socializing expense are quantitative variables with a ratio scale. We obtained secondary data from Kaggle.com, which involved a population of 1,000 students. Using a Cauchy and Morgan table, the recommended sample size is 278 students. We analyzed the data using various statistical methods, including mean, mode, median, standard deviation, Pearson measure of skewness, coefficient of variation, histogram, pie chart, and simple bar chart. For gender, we used pie chart to show the distribution of male and female students in the sample. For major and year in school, we used simple bar charts to show the distribution of students in each category. For age, we calculated the mean, mode, median, standard deviation, Pearson measure of skewness, and bar chart. For food expense and socializing expense, we calculated the mean, mode, median, standard deviation, Pearson measure of skewness, coefficient of variation, and histogram.
In this part, I am going to explain about our findings of data of gender, major, and year in school of students of Cambridge. Our study has selected of 278 students. As you can see from the pie chart of gender distributions, the majority of our respondents are female, with 147 students representing 52.87% of the students' population. The remaining 131 students are male, representing 47.12% of the students' population. For our findings on major, we can see that our university offers a variety of majors. The most popular major is psychology with 59 students. This is followed by economics 58 students, biology 56 students, computer science 54 students, and engineering 51 students. Based on our discovery on data of students of Cambridge year in school, our university has students across all academic years. The highest number of students are in their junior year with 74 students. This is followed by freshmen 71 students, senior 67 students, and sophomore 66 students.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Nurulajwa. My student ID is 2023415238. are going to present about one of the factors that impact the student's financial behavior and the age of students. Age becomes one of the factors because the younger students tend to spend more than mature students. Mature students are often input exposure to financial concepts.
From the data that we were referring to, we can represent the data in the graph form, which is ogive. From the data, we can interpret some information from it. Firstly, we can obtain the most of the university coverage students are 20 years old. Besides that, we can calculate the average age of this university coverage student, which is 21 years old. As for the median, we get 50% student age are less than 20 years old and another 50% student age are more than 20 years old. Since the standard deviation are smaller, which is 2.532, it shows that the data is less depreciation and more accurate. It leads to the good data characteristic. Since the percent measure of skewness is more than 0, which is 0.5134, it shows the data is skewed to the right or more known as positively skewed.
Another factor is the food expense. Students spend on food because it is needed. Since most dormitory doesn't provide kitchen, they have to spend more money on food. We use bar chart to represent the food expense data.
Firstly, we obtain the most of the university coverage student spending $248 on food. The average university coverage student spend on food is $249.64.
We conclude that 50% students spend less than $256.80 and another 50 students spend more than $256.80 on food.
We calculate the standard deviation and the answer is 79.7920, which is larger. This means the data is more dispersion and less accurate. Since the patient measure of skewness is more than 0, the shape of distribution is skewed to the right or positively skewed.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Nura Safa. Now, I'm going to present our findings on the data of social expenses of students at University Cambridge that we have collected and analyzed. I hope that our presentation will provide valuable insights into the socializing habits of University Cambridge students. Our analysis shows that the mode of socializing expenses is around $75.16, the mean is $85, and the median is $87.33. This figure suggests that the average socializing expense for University Cambridge students is around $85, with majority of students spending between $75 and $90. However, the data is positively skewed, with Pearson measure of skewness of 0.2526 and coefficient of variation of 45.870%, meaning that there are more students who spend more on socializing than those who spend less. Let's take a look at the object of socializing expenses. As you can see, most students spend between $20 and $130 on socializing, with a peak around $75 to $85. This suggests that the majority of students spend a moderate amount on socializing, with a few students spend significantly more or less. The object also shows that there are more students who spend less than $100 on socializing than those who spend more, which is consistent with our earlier finding that the data is positively skewed. The standard deviation of socializing expenses is 38.9444, which indicates that the data is less dispersed and more consistent. This means that the majority of students spend a similar amount on socializing, with only a few students deviating significantly from the average. The standard deviation also suggests that the data is variable and can be used to make a generalization about the socializing habits of University Cambridge students. Interestingly, 50% of students spend less than $87.33 and another 50% spend more than $87.33. This suggests that the data is skewed to the right, meaning that there are more students who spend more on socializing. The median is $87.33, is higher than the mean of $85, which is consistent with the positive skewness of the data. This suggests that there are few students who spend significantly more on socializing, which is driving up the average. In conclusion, our analysis provides insights into the socializing expenses of University Cambridge students. We have found the average socializing expense is around $85, with a majority of students spending between $75 to $90. We also have found that the data is positively skewed, with a few students spending significantly more on socializing. However, the data is less dispersed and more consistent, with most students spending a similar amount on socializing. We hope that our presentation has provided valuable insights into socializing habits of University Cambridge students.
Hi, I am Aisha Hanani binti Muhammad Harisan. My student number is 2023415744. Now, I'm going to talk about the conclusion of our presentation today. In summation, within the group of 278 students surveyed, with women comprising 52.877% of respondents, a fascinating tapestry of spending habits emerged, not confined solely to age, but extending across majors and academic years. Notably, the majority of respondents are 20 years old, primarily from psychology majors and predominantly in their junior year. The data eliminates a rich spectrum of socializing expenses, demonstrating a broader range of preferences and behaviors compared to food expenses. Socializing expenses exhibit considerable variability, suggesting diverse approaches to student social life. Conversely, the symmetrical observed in the food expenses graph unveils a harmonious distribution of spending across different amounts, indicating balanced expenses pattern. This underscores the importance of financial mindfulness, particularly in managing entertainment expenses. to align with budgetary constraints and financial aspirations. By vigilant monitoring and potential adjustments in book spending categories, students can chart a course toward enhanced financial stability and well-being.